Welcome to another episode of G Block's Go Deeper podcast series. My name is Sheila Krishna. I'm the G Block Community and Program Director, and it's my absolute pleasure to introduce to you Candance Newman, who is a G Block member and our guest today. So, Candance is the CEO and founder of Live Out Live Music. Through her work, she sets the stage for diverse young adults and teens to have the resources, skills, and confidence to pursue careers in the touring and booking industry. She also produces fireside chats, panels, experiences, and activations that highlight live entertainment careers, tackles industry hurdles, and opens doors for the next generation. Welcome, Candance.
Thank you.
Well, let's dive in. So why don't you start off by telling us, what is your why? What do you consider your purpose or your mission in the world?
Honestly, it's just so simple. My why is that I'm alive and that I'm here and that I'm present in the world and I have things that need to be done, that need to be fulfilled. I'm not here for no reason. So really that is my why in fulfilling those things. And every day those things look different, right? Like I said, I'm a mom and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a friend. I'm a mentor. People count on me. So my why definitely has everything to do with fulfilling the purpose within those relationships.
Beautiful. And can you tell us, what is the one big idea you wish to bring to the world and why? What do you hope happens as a result?
Oh, that's such a big loaded question because it's just not one thing, right? But the one thing that I hope happen is that the next generation is inspired to really turn things around for the past generations that just haven't really got it. And that it's a 180 even, right? Because we are making slow progress in many areas of the world, but it's just not enough to impact the next several generations. I never imagined some of the things that I've seen throughout life and in politics even, which is the topic right now, is really concerning, but at the same time exciting because that concern really pushes the threshold for change. And so I'm hoping that the next generation is inspired to completely change things for the better for the future.
Wonderful. Yeah, and I think I have a background in the nonprofit world and social justice. And I think the one thing I learned was, like, sometimes it takes a bit of a crisis for
Yes.
us to really be fired up to create change. So I'm with you on that.
Absolutely.
So my next question for you is, how do you choose to who you actively build a professional relationship with, or a personal one, and what's important to you?
What's important to me is building relationships. I feel like your relationships is what help posture you and develop you and build you up, build your character, right? So depending on who you're engaging with. So for me, what's important to me is building meaningful relationships with people. And so I'm very intentional on how I build those relationships. I set out to build relationships with people who I can learn from and be challenged by and who hold me accountable and help me be a better person. And I avoid relationships that don't. Um, and as far as professional relationships, I really enjoy working with people that I like and that I respect and who value me, who value what I bring to the table. I've worked in corporate spaces where I never really felt 100% valued, which I am a number in a big pot, but I know that there are people who stand out and I'm a standout character. I'm a high performer and I deserve the value that comes with that. And to me, it means a lot when I work with people who see that and honor that, and vice versa. I can see that and honor that in them.
Beautiful. Yeah, I think it's so important to really be grounded in understanding what you bring to the table. I think, especially, at least especially with women, I find that that's something a lot of women really struggle with, is like underappreciating what they actually bring to the table. So I love
I
that.
agree, but I believe that if we're empowered more in certain environments, it will help build our confidence, and we won't
Hmm.
feel, that imposter syndrome or whatever those buzzwords are that people use for that feeling.
Yeah.
We feel that way if we're empowered. That's what I do with youth. Even though I know that youth can't produce a show, they can't do it on their own, I empower them by trusting them to take a chance at things, to make executive decisions, even if they're not the right decisions, to ask questions. So I think it's so important that we are empowered to build the confidence that we need in order to avoid that type of attitude and behavior in women and people of color.
Yeah. Yeah. So what are some of your favorite questions to ask when getting to know someone, and why?
I work in the music industry, and obviously the number one question is always, what do you do? So I try to avoid that question. It's my least favorite question. My favorite question to ask is like, what are you about? Because it kind of leaves things open to tell me what you're about. Maybe you're about what you do for a living. Maybe you're
Mm-hmm.
about your family dynamics. Maybe you're about whatever your hobbies are. So I just really like to learn about what is a person about. So that's kind of like my first intro question, like, hey, what are you all about? What are you up to? What are you up
Mm-hmm.
to these days? Just to find out, maybe they're on a sabbatical and they're traveling the world, and that is what they're up to these days. And it has nothing to do
Mm-hmm.
with work or contributing to a productive society, which is not end all be all for us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I really appreciate that. We are more than what we do. We are
Yes,
a
we
lot more than what we do.
100%. Absolutely.
Yes, I love that. So what actions do you take to build a deeper connection? What are some of the things that you do? Let's say you meet someone and you really want to get to know them better, or you feel connect and you want to build a more deeper relationship. What are some of the actions you take?
I would say as soon as I think of that person, even if it's a split thought, I might shoot them a text. Not saying
Mhm.
that I'm thinking about them, but it might be, hey, I have something coming up. I want to invite you to it. Or, um, hey, I really enjoyed our brief conversation. We'll love to get together for coffee to continue it. I just am really meaningful about reaching out to people, even if they don't reach back out. That's okay, because it has nothing to do with who I am. It's more about me setting the tone for how I want to establish rapport with people. So
Mhm.
even if they don't reciprocate that, maybe they're not that type of person, and I have to extend that grace to them. But for me, it's really
Mm.
important that I reach out to people, that I email people, that I follow up with people,
Yeah,
that I'm not the one to let the conversation go dark. I always am trying to keep it afloat, and just also just checking in with people. But it always starts with initial thought. As soon as I think of something or someone, right away I make a note to myself to reach out to them.
yeah. I have a very similar way of connecting with people. It's the same way, and it's interesting. It's actually not so natural, or even, at least from what I've noticed, it's not even that common. I often find that it's just, but it's such a natural instinct for me as soon as I think of someone to reach out.
Yeah,
And when people ask me, how do you have such a big network, is like, because I put, I, I
effort.
actively cultivate, I don't wait for things to happen. I kind of make things happen, smaller bit.
100%. Absolutely. And then a lot of times, if I don't hear from people and they see me out and about, they're like, oh, I owe you. And I'm just like, it's all good. You're living your life. But then they're reminded of who I am. They're
Mm,
reminded that I reached out to them and that I am a quality person. And maybe they want to reach back out to me because now they're running into me and seeing me in other places, and they
yeah,
avoid seeing me, especially in like-minded common rooms and places, right? So if they see me again in another space that maybe they met me in, that there are likeness and commonalities in that room, then they're probably going to lean more in about the fact that I am someone that they may want to continue to get to know, and maybe not curve or ghost.
yeah,
So, it's
yeah.
little things like that that really sometimes other people need it, but for you and I, we don't need it. We are creating our own, way of life.
100%.
Yeah.
So, what are the communities you actively engage in, and why?
So by default, I have a mom community,
Yeah.
a really strong community here in the valley where I live. I grew up in Los Angeles, but I never like lived in the valley. But I found so much quality of life from where I live now because of the community that I built, because of having a family dynamic, and been able to build um, a common respect and regard in that community, as in like their kids are my nephews and nieces, my son is just by default. So that's a really meaningful community for me because I can
Mm.
just kind of be myself and be a family woman. um Another community that I just default into is the music industry community, because I've worked in the music industry for over 20 years of my career. I've only had a
Mm.
career for 20 years, so my entire career I worked in the music industry, so I have strong relationships with the Recording Academy and the community within that organization. So I do a lot of work and endeavors with them. And I'm hoping to build my G Block community so we can continue to raise our voices and show how important this meaningful community is as far as diversity, inclusion, and not only focusing. I like that this community is a LinkedIn community, but it doesn't only focus on business and work, but it focuses on all the other commonalities around that.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And yeah, I think it's so powerful as a mother to have community because it really does take a village
Yes.
to raise children.
Especially
Um,
when you're a businesswoman. Sometimes I need
yes,
support with pickups and drop offs. Sometimes they need support with pickups and drop offs to soccer or to school. So I really appreciate that.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So, do you consider yourself a community builder? And if so, what are some of the actions you take to build community?
Yes, I am a community builder by default. Um, Again, I have built the Live Out Live community from scratch, right? Obviously, it was inspired by my journey as a woman of color in the live music industry, but I have created this foundation and people have gravitated towards it. I've created
Mhm.
something meaningful and community have built around it and helped prop it up. So that is one of the most important communities that I've ever built is my Live Out Live community and the foundation around it and the youth who are interested in being a part of the community and the mentors and the executives who have leaned in to help prop up the mission.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Um, so let's talk about contribution. Can you tell us your favorite story of creating impact for someone in your life or through your work?
Again, the most important impact that I've been able to make throughout my work and in my life, beyond inspiring my son, is the community that I've built through Live Out Live and the mentorship that I've been able to do.
Mm.
I've been able to impact individuals as a mentor, helping them tapping into new interests sometimes, helping them help guide their career path and perspective, helping educate them and empower them. Not only one-on-one mentorship, but again, the overarching community that I've built that also have a mentorship program and have internships
Mm.
and have job shadowing and pipelines. I'm connecting people. I'm connecting people through just their educational endeavor as well as their potential career pipeline endeavors. So for me, it's really meaningful because it could lead the work that I'm doing through Live Out Live, the mentorships and such could lead to someone and or several people. But if I tap into and inspire just one person to be at the top of the live entertainment food chain because I've sparked an interest in them, then to me, that is doing the work. But I know that I've been able to do the work with thousands of youth and thousands of professionals. So that is so important to me. I'm so grateful for the vision and been able to follow through with it and to be able to build community around it.
Wonderful. Um, yeah, it's amazing. Sometimes impact doesn't have to be like some big thing. It can be the small things as well as the bigger things. And I think sometimes we also don't, what I love about this question is sometimes we don't stop to think about all the ways we've created impact. Um, and so, yeah, it's a beautiful reflection.
It's good. It's like it's a great reflection. That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's good to really stop and think about it because it will allow you to see who you are and how valuable you are to the world and to that someone's life or other people's life,
Mhm.
and and pushes you to continue on that same pathway, that work, right?
100%.
uh,
So what does a better world to you look like, and how do you see yourself contributing to that?
I think a better world looks like a woman-led world. No. But yes,
I may agree
I,
with you on
I
that,
think
even
there
if
is a
it's a
lot of
controversial statement.
compassion. There's a lot of compassion and listening and understanding that comes with the natural womanly instinctual, character.
Yeah,
So I'm super excited about what's to come and what's on the horizon for that, as well as continuing to contribute to that, right? Continuing
yeah.
to represent that, right?
Mhm.
I used to say, like, when I worked at Live Nation before, I didn't do a lot of DEI work. I just did the work while I was there, right?
Yeah,
Me doing the work was almost DEI work. It's kind of like that resistance that you don't think that you're doing, but you're doing, because I was able to graduate from Live Nation and move on to do it independently, but to impact so many people. So I
yeah.
think that a world that that involves compassion, understanding, and I think that women just kind of contribute that to the world. So I'm excited to see, and I think a world led by women is the future, and something new and something exciting and something that's
Mhm.
undiscovered. I'm sorry, there have been other worlds that have been led by women, but this one being a woman led world. I'm super excited to see what comes of that. If
Mm,
that is what's to be, we'll
I
just say.
love it.
Yeah.
So with our final question, if you could run G Block for a day, what would you do with the community?
That is a good question. We'd probably go out on a field trip, to do some team building, some community building efforts. If the community was all in one place, we'd probably do a wellness experience or retreat, something to kind of get us centered and grounded and mindful of each other and of ourselves. So I think that that's what I would do. Something outside of a work dynamic, not much networking, but more connecting, building, and just becoming spiritually grounded together. Like experiencing that together will take us to the next level as a community, I believe.
I love that.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much for your time and sharing your insights and your stories. We're so grateful to have you part of the community. And yeah, and we'll end it there.
Thank you so much. It's been
Thanks.
fun.